Imagine bringing one of history's most controversial Romans into a modern psychology laboratory. Not Julius Caesar, not Augustus, but Lucius Cornelius Sulla, the man who marched on Rome, published death lists, rewrote the Republic, then shocked everyone by voluntarily giving up absolute power. Now today, psychologists are always talking about executive function, planning, self-control, and long-term thinking. So did Sulla possess them, or was he simply an impulsive tyrant who just happened to win? Imagine being in Rome in 88 BC. Sulla had just been given command against King Mithridates, but while away from Rome, his command is taken away. Most Roman politicians complain. Some negotiate, and others wait for another opportunity. But Sulla does something no Roman had ever done before. He marches his own army onto Rome. At first glance, this looks impulsive, but if we look closer, this march was organized, disciplined, and meticulously timed. Whether you admire him or hate him, this wasn't chaos. It was one of the most calculated political gambles in Roman history. Now here's what's fascinating. Executive function doesn't tell us whether someone is good. It only tells us whether someone can organize a behavior toward a goal. Like a fraudster, they may possess remarkable planning. A dictator may demonstrate extraordinary working memory. And a surgeon and a serial killer can both possess exceptional self-control. This shows us that executive function is cognitive machinery, but morality is something completely different. And Sulla, he forces us to separate the two. Executive function also involves considering future consequences before acting, not just reacting to the present. Now Sulla, he constantly played the long game. His alliances with powerful families, his manipulation of political officers, and his calculated return from the East. Even his reforms as dictator were designed to reshape Roman politics long after he was gone. Every action suggests someone thinking several moves ahead, like a chess player and not merely a gambler. Executive function also requires cognitive flexibility and the ability to change strategies as circumstances change. Sulla, he repeatedly adapted, from a general to an exile, to a conqueror, then a dictator turned reformer. And each crisis demanded a different decision, different allies, and different tactics. Now, history rightly often remembers his brutality, but psychology shows us something else, an unusually flexible mind. And this is where many people rightly become uncomfortable, because high executive functioning doesn't guarantee kindness. For Sulla, his proscription death lists were not random acts of violence. They were organized, recorded, and then administered. Names were published and property was confiscated, and he also gave people rewards to encourage participation. It was a bureaucracy serving terror, and this requires planning, organization, persistence, and monitoring. Many of these very executive skills psychologists admire, but they were used for horrifying purposes. Now, after becoming dictator, Sulla resigned. He walked away from supreme power. No one expected this. Most dictators throughout history, as we all know, often cling to authority, while Sulla just voluntarily surrendered it. Whether motivated by confidence, tradition, or calculation, it demonstrated something remarkable. He wasn't simply driven by immediate impulses. He believed he had completed his plan. So, are we asking the wrong question? Instead of asking, did Sulla have executive function, should we ask, what kind of ecosystem produced someone with extraordinary executive functioning? Now in Rome, they rewarded long-term planning, military discipline, political strategy, patronage, public reputation, and competition. And throughout childhood, Roman aristocrats practiced the very skills modern psychology calls executive function. The Republic didn't merely produce soldiers, it produced strategic minds. And Sulla, he might have been one of its most greatest and most dangerous products of this ecosystem. So, did he have executive functioning? Almost certainly. His planning, his adaptability, his goal-directed behaviour, his strategic thinking, and his ability to organise enormous political and military systems all point towards exceptionally developed executive functioning. But, as history and Sulla have taught us, the same mental abilities capable of building civilizations can also destroy them.